Thank you, Kristen. Welcome. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock. I'm the Reverend Dr. Natalie Fenimore. I'm a minister here along with the Reverend Jay Brooks. I do want to acknowledge today that this is our first Sunday since the retirement of the Reverend Jennifer Brower. Jennifer's spirit remains with us, even though she is no longer here every Sunday. Please recognize that we are in a period of transition and look forward to what will be coming next. Today's worship associate is Elaine Peters. Ta-da. And our musicians are Kristen Kemp and Sarah Moulton-Foe. This Unitarian Universalist congregation welcomes you no matter where you are on your faith journey. Whether a believer, a doubter, or questioner, you are welcome here. Ours is a community which values and celebrates diversity. We believe that we need not think alike to love alike. We welcome you to join us as we seek to build a more just and joyful world. If you're a visitor today, stop by our welcome desk in the main lobby after the service. If you're with us online, visit our website to learn more about Unitarian Universalism and the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock. After the worship service, you're invited to our coffee hour, which is held both in person and online each Sunday. Let us worship together. Each Sunday, we light the chalice of our religious heritage. We do this for our ancestors who taught us through their various religious traditions and by their actions for justice and hope. We do this for our children who are learning the traditions we teach and who learn more from our actions than from our words. We do this for ourselves so that we are inspired to remember our beginnings, reflect on who we are now, and spread our wings as we understand who we seek to become.
Please rise in body or spirit for our words of affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest of truth is its sacrament and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, this do we affirm and covenant with each other. Please remain standing and put on your mask for our song of affirmation. I offer this reading by Christian de la Huerta. We must shine now. This is the goal toward which we stretch, step by step, in our own time, at our own pace. As our beauty unfolds and our hearts open, we become gentler and more compassionate. Yet brighter, more empowered, and fearless. We have been holding on, holding back, playing small, hiding our light under a bushel. Enough of that. It is time to let go. We are needed now, all of us together. All those who feel a calling to be who we are to the fullest. to make a difference, to give it all we got. Please wear your mask to sing, rise in body or spirit to sing hymn number 318, We Would Be One.
Now we join in singing our hymn of love to pledge ourselves anew to the typos of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other, to show to all a new community. We would be one in building for tomorrow a nobler world than we have known today. We would be one in searching for that meaning which finds our hearts and points us on our way. As one we pledge ourselves to greater service, with love and justice strive to make us free.
Each Sunday, we take a special collection to support a nonprofit group which serves human need. Each summer, UUCSR supports the school supplies drive for children in need in the village of Hempstead. During July and August, your Sunday contributions will go towards this effort. Members of the UUCSR Social Justice Committee will use the funds to purchase the supplies and deliver them. The supplies will be distributed in late August by Reverend Benjamin of Abba, Able Body of Believers Alliance Leadership Center. Make contributions on our website or through PayPal or by text message. If you are on site, the donations box is to your right as you leave the worship room. In these days, when compassion fatigue is a real thing, let's make our congregation a wellspring of empathy. Please, give from your hearts what you can. Reading by Paul Tillich. The measure of what we shall do to one another cannot be our wishes about what they shall do to us. For our wishes express not only our right, but our wrong, and our foolishness more than our wisdom. This is the limit of the golden rule. This is the limit of calculating justice. Only for the person who knows what they should wish and who actually wishes it Is the golden rule ultimately valid? Only love can transform calculating justice into creative justice. Love makes justice just. Justice without love is always injustice because it does not do justice to the other one, nor to oneself, nor to the situation in which we meet.
Let us now enter into a time of meditation or prayer. We open our hearts and minds to the spirit of life and love. We offer to share the joy of those whose days have been given a lift by good news or good companionship or music or beauty. May ours be with them a community of celebration. We offer comfort to those who are suffering, to those who are in need of empathy, sympathy, and compassion. May ours forever be a community of care. All our lives, each of us have lives that are a tangle of emotions, of experiences. We live back and forth, back and forth. May this community be a place where we find balance, a place where our needs are met, where care is shown, where love is given without bounds, given and received with gratitude, appreciation, received, and again, given. May we each and all join in making it so. Amen.
Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't wanna fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day, oh, the souls of the innocent, blood-drenched pavement. Keep on moving though the waters stay raging. And in this maze, you can lose your way, your way. It might drive you crazy, but don't let it faze you. No way, no way. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't wanna fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play one day, one day, one day. One day this all will change, treat people the same, stop with the violence, down with the hate. One day we'll all be free and proud to be under the same sun, singing songs of freedom. Why oh, why oh, why oh. All my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't wanna fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play. Why oh, why oh, why one day, one day.
One day. Our fifth Unitarian Universalist principle, our principles being our guidelines for faithful living. Our fifth principle asks us to affirm and promote the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. We often boil this down to a very simple statement that everyone has the right to vote. And then when we start to talk about voting, of course, we then turn toward a political conversation. And it's true, Unitarian Universalists do have political opinions, and they are probably more diverse than is generally believed. We do fuss quite a bit about politics. And I do hope that Unitarian Universalists will continue to lean toward supporting, advocating for political decisions which expand justice, which grow liberty, which defend human rights, which support human need. That's part of what we do as being good, to be good citizens. More so, I believe that when we talk about using the democratic process here in our congregations, so we are talking about how it is that we do democracy. And that matters at the core, how we do the process. Do we honor listening, inclusion, respectful decision-making? That's perhaps more important than the outcome sometimes. It's how we did the process that got us to the outcome. Can we celebrate and mourn all that we experience? We should understand our spiritual democracy as something more than a political process. Spiritual democracy is our commitment to individual freedom and equity within the context of covenantal community building and respectful relationship. It is a welcome to the experiences which each person brings into Unitarian Universalism. It is an honoring of the individual and the community by this deep listening. It is holding a place for the views of the minority, even as the wisdom of the majority moves the enterprise forward. It's true that Unitarian Universalism and the Unitarian Universalist Association has grown along with the United States. The founders of this nation, among them John Adams, Ethan Allen, Paul Revere, Benjamin Rush, were Unitarians. The political and social context of colonial politicians in Boston, Philadelphia, Williamsburg, and New York, these elites, shaped the American Revolution and also deeply shaped the roots of our Unitarian faith. But as the nation moved past the revolutionary generation and lived into its flawed democracy, moved toward civil war, what was the nature and spirit of democracy? What was the nature and spirit of ordinary peoples who had been living into becoming democratic peoples? In 1844, the Unitarian transcendentalist preacher and writer, Ralph Waldo Emerson, wrote in his essay, The Poet, that America lacked a poetic voice that saw America itself as a poem. Someone who saw America and Americans and democracy as a poem. As Mark Edmonston has written in The Atlantic, what America lacked was what Emerson called an evocation of being a democratic person, what it felt like at its best, day to day. Emerson felt that America had a mind, which Emerson believed was created by Thomas Jefferson and the other founders, but it had not yet found its own best spirit. While the aristocrats of Massachusetts and Virginia might have begun the United States, they alone could not sustain democracy in the modern world. Was it really all about declarations and constitutions and written law? And for us here, is it really all about the bylaws? What of the people? The spirit of the people, the lives lived, the facts here on the ground. When Frederick Douglass writes, "What to the slave is the 4th of July in 1852, he adds another voice. He demands consideration of the distance between democratic ideals and the reality of oppression in this nation. Who does our democracy include? Who does it value? How does democracy become more inclusive? How does democracy confront evil?" We still ask those questions today. So into this conversation, begun in the 1800s, comes unexpectedly the poet Walt Whitman. Whitman, who was born in 1819 in West Hills in Huntington, Whitman, the unknown vagabond poet, answers the very famous Emerson He answers Emerson's call by writing Leaves of Grass in 1855, poetry which celebrates the democracy of the human experience and the human spirit. Emerson wrote, "The sum of all known reverence I add up in you, whoever you are. Those who govern are there for you. It is not you who are there for them. All architecture is what you do to it when you look at it. All music that awakens from you when you are reminded by the instruments. The sun and the stars float in the open air, the apple-shaped earth and we upon it, the endless pride and outstretching of people, unspeakable joys and sorrows. The wonder everyone sees in everyone else they see, and the wonders that fill each moment of time forever. It is for you, whoever you are. We consider Bibles and religions divine. I do not say they are not divine. I say they have all grown out of you and may grow out of you still. It is you who give life. That is democracy. Democracy of the Spirit. In Song of Myself, Whitman said, I celebrate myself and what I assume you shall assume, for every atom belonging to me as good belongs to you. This is an assertion of human worth and dignity and interconnectedness. Our UU principles speak of affirming this reality. Our democracy of spirit enables each person to be embraced in our community. From the 1800s to today and pointing toward the future. If you immerse yourself fully in democracy, you can achieve a kind of immortality because you have committed yourself to something great and continuing, which moves from you and connects you to something larger and continuing. It is a kind of reincarnation. It's a kind of sustaining hope in the world. As Emerson and Whitman and Douglass wrestled with the question of how we were to live out our democratic lives in the times before the Civil War, we have had to wrestle with this question again and again. The civil rights movement, the women's movement, LGBTQ+, Me Too, Poor People's Campaign, disability rights, Black Lives Matter. Spiritual democracy asks that our UU communities continue to be a place for discussion of how we are to experience our lives in democracy and grow our souls in democratic places and spaces. This is both how we think and how we feel. It's how we grow together. It's how we take responsibility for life. And within our congregation, we must participate in our own self-governing. Do we do the work of committees, boards, programs, come to congregational meetings, be informed, and vote? Vote with both your head and your heart, choosing what you think is best for this community that you love, and for its people who you love. But voting is not the end of things here. Stay in relationship with those whose votes were different than yours. Listen to the wisdom that may gather around minority views. I try to always say to myself, well, I think I was right, but I might have been wrong. I might always, possibly, be wrong. I might always have something to learn from someone else. I've long valued and deeply been committed to congregationalism. It's the way in which leadership in our Unitarian Universalist congregations is organized. No bishops, no popes, we are in charge. In each of our Unitarian Universalist congregations and communities, the members elect their leaders. The members are their leaders. They discuss and determine their own priorities, explore their individual and communal faith journeys, honor their own traditions and histories, teach their children. Each individual is valued and brings their faith to the table. There are many gifts laid out for others to share, to learn from, to enjoy. Each individual makes or breaks this community. Each person not only votes, but is counted, heard, is needed, is valued, is valuable. This way of being in community, this way of seeing each person's potential for contribution to growth and learning of others, this way of making sure that each person may be heard and may bring forward new and important ideas, this way of valuing each other, this is the democracy of the Spirit, which I cherish in Unitarian Universalists faith communities, in this faith community. It's not political in nature, really, but speaks to the spirit of our gathering. We are called to listen deeply to one another as equals, to respect the community of care which we intentionally build. This is a house we build. We build it by hauling the stones and lumber in our own trucks and wheelbarrows and on our own backs and putting them up in place by our own hands. This house can be built no other way. No one else will come in and do it for us. It must be our job well done or a job not done at all. This is the gift and the responsibility of democracy in this, our spiritual home. So this weekend, as we celebrate the 4th of July, we celebrate the United States in all its potential and in recognition of all its incompleteness. We celebrate its institutional creativity and its tragic failures. We may offer the same celebration and fireworks for Unitarian Universalism for many of the same reasons. May we find ourselves able to follow Walt Whitman's path and fully immerse ourselves in the democracy of the Spirit. Find our immortality and reincarnation and hope in a great, interconnected, and continuing faith. May it be so. Amen. Please rise in body and spirit and wear a mask to sing our closing hymn, number 347, Gather the Spirit.
Separate stars will kindle one flame. spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun. Winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again.
Please be seated. I offer these closing words from Victoria Safford. What if there were a universe in which a world was born out of a smallish star? And into that world, at some point, flew red-winged blackbirds, and into it swam sperm whales, and into it bloomed crocuses, and into it blew wind to lift the tiniest hairs on naked arms in spring. And into it, at some point, grew onions, and out of the soil, and in went Mount Everest, and also the coyote we've spotted in the woods about a mile away from here, just after sunrise on these mornings when the moon is full. The very scent of him makes his brother, our dog, insane with fear and joy and inbred memory. Into that world came animals and elements and plants and imagination and mind and the mind's eye. If such a universe existed and you noticed it, what would you do? What song would come out of your mouth? What prayer, what praise, what sacred offering? What whirling dance? What religion and what reverential gesture would you make to greet that world every single day that you were in it? And now we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.